All right, everybody, welcome to the live. I'm your host for this evening, Miss Captain America. Yay! It took me forever to get my mask on today. So let me just put this to the side. I'm going to get some music playing to get this all started. We're going to do some throwback. We're going to go way back, playback. We're going to go back to Captain America back in the day. So hope you're well. Hey, Mike, how's it going? We are, oh my goodness. We are very late. I was supposed to do this yesterday. Oh my gosh. What fell? Regardless, I'm still going to get some music. Hey, God, bitch. How's it going? I am Miss Captain America tonight. So actually, you know what? My Bluetooth is connected. I wanted to explain to you guys the concept behind my cosplay in just a second. I'm just going to make sure I didn't drop anything. There we go. Actually wasn't that important. So, and I'm trying to make sure I don't make the TikTok algorithm too mad because I'm not wearing appropriate bottoms. I tried to last night I wore a skirt just because I wanted to be wholesome, just like how Cap would be. Oh, thanks, Summations. Good, I noticed that. Oh, yes. So let me explain this cosplay. A few people were asking last night. I was playing as Miss Captain America, but I didn't, of course, have the mask on because I do most of my cosplay through makeup. I am working on some Eva phone projects, but I love playing with makeup. Very powerful to be doing things like makeup, like contouring, all that kind of stuff, even body paint. There's a lot of power in that. So I love playing with this, and so I love putting on it's kind of like ritualistic too when you put your little emblems on. So to explain Miss Captain America to you guys, I want to get some music on first. Da-da-da. Captain America, of course, is a theme song, but I've been going back to old 90s music and like putting together, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do some cosplay to music. So what song do you think Captain America or Miss Captain America would do a dance to? Let's think. Because Cap is all about like honor and justice and truth and doing the right thing. Maybe wear shorts with Captain design on them. Yes, that's a good idea. There's also, oh my gosh, you can hear the sounds of the city. I've also been working on sewing cosplay. So I have a Starfire cosplay. I know that's a different universe, but hey, Winston. But I guess to be a cosplay, it's like costume play, this whole art to it, because it's also how you see the character itself. So let's bring this back to, Miss Captain America. So someone in my live was asking, put some 80s Tokyo beats. Will this be good? I don't want it too back to the 90s. So I use an ad blocker, you guys. Invisible clothes. I really don't think the algorithm would like me for that. Oh, yay. I know it's good. We're all gonna fall asleep. I want to keep you guys up a little bit. Okay. Okay, perfect. So, it's where I love it. So I grew up in the prairies, and so singing along with the top down, the windows open, your friends, camping trip, and like your burnt CD playlist. So I'm all about that life. So, hey Scott Summers, how's it going? No, I'm very married. I've been married for like 10 years now, but I'll bring this back to Miss Captain America. So someone in my live last night was asking if I'm Captain Carter, because if you guys have watched the What If series, which is kind of cool, where it's like this concept of what if, Sharon Carter, her name was Sharon, got the superhero serum instead of Cap, right? And so this whole concept of that. Now, I am not Sharon Carter. If you really think about it, she ends up being like Captain Britain and that kind of thing. She's Doctor Strange too. Oh, she was in I missed that. Did I watch Doctor Strange too? I really love the first Doctor Strange. Also, we're going to be reading this tonight, Captain America and the Defenders. It's an old school comic book, and it's a known, I don't know if it's a known thing, but Cap and Doctor Strange actually work together a lot. Like, just like how in DC, Constantine and Zatanna are like the magical backup for the more, let's say, kinetic powers such as Superman, or like even Batman, who's more like mental. You have, of course, like Doctor Strange providing like that magical support to Captain America, who you'd say is much more like strength based. So Captain America to me is my masculine self. How should I put it this way? A little fruit fly here. Oh, thanks, Samurai Ninja. So, let's bring this back. I'm gonna bring this back into something a little bit more esoteric, and then we'll go into the read for tonight. So, me and my girlfriend Aria, who you guys have seen on the show a little bit when we do today's harmonics, we're re-looking at how we want to do the show going forward. But we had a conversation once about like, you know, our inner masculine versus inner feminine selves, right? So I bring this up because I'm writing my book, as you guys know, and I'm finally going to be self-launching the first book, which is a young adult novel, the end of this month. So officially July 30th, I'm going to be doing it on Amazon. It's going to be 2 books. And it's young adult. I had to update it a little bit just because even if it's a young adult novel, it still needs to make sense from a plot point perspective. But I'm going to bring this, where was I going with this? What were we talking about? Oh, yes, past lives and inner masculine versus feminine selves. So when I was writing masculine characters back when I was 14 years old, I had guy friends, of course, but my parents didn't let me date till I was like 16, like a sheltered life. So in my head, I just envisioned what the boys I would want to like date be like. So I sometimes tell my hubby this. I'm like, just like that Savage Garden song, like I think I dreamed you into life. But I do think there's a truth to that too, because 2 of my girlfriends are now married to the guys that we all dreamed up together. So I welcome you guys to have people in your life fulfill the dreams that you didn't know you had yet, I guess is the way to kind of put it. Anyways, I look at Captain America as my inner masculine self. So I love Cap just because I'm very attracted to, there's 2 types of men I'm attracted to. One where it's like the bad boy and you can't tell me what to do kind of situation. And then I also love men of honor, right? There is something to me inherently attractive about making the hard decision. Oh, hey Pikachu, right? Pika Pika, right? Oh, I appreciate that. There's something about, you know, leadership qualities in a man who is willing to put aside his own needs, all of that kind of stuff for the good of, you know, his team, his people, all of that kind of stuff. And from a very real way, and not from a credit situation, not to try to get reelected, not to try to do anything other than, oh, hey Penguin. I have to get through tonight's read. I'm on a schedule. Maybe if you're still on in about, say, 20 minutes. I don't know how long it's going to take for me to get through this, but I'm going to get through the read because I do, I'm putting together all of because I've already read this to you guys before, right? But do I have any proof of this? No. It's in the ether, gone forever. And when there's a beauty to that live stuff, but I just want to make sure I have some recordings of these things just so when we go forward, we have some analysis. So Captain America, going back to like your inner masculine and inner feminine, Aria was asking me, she's like, oh, so when you and your hubby get together, is it like a foursome? Like your inner masculine, your feminine, and then his feminine and his masculine? I'm like, kind of, right? So I've always said to you guys, I do have what I would say like tomboyish attributes, right? In the sense of like, I love video games, I love reading comic books, I love science fiction, I love like first person shooters like Halo, and I get really bored with things like The Sims and like shopping too long. Like, I don't like, me and my sister are not, we didn't grow up like normal little girls, I guess, because my dad was a prof in comp sci, so we grew up with the technology. Like, my dad literally made us math games, like specifically for us to teach us math. So I grew up very different, and that was okay. And I was really blessed to have girlfriends of mine who accepted my weirdness and went along with all of the weird like concepts that I had. So I thank you guys. And I'm still friends with those girls. They're actually part of my book. And so coming back around to my inner masculine self, Steve Rogers is, if I were a boy, I would be Steve Rogers, Captain America. And the reason is this, is that it takes, and Sperm Mario, you're very sweet, it takes being in a place of weakness to really know how to handle power, right? And let's differentiate between strength and power as well, right? I think it's Jimi Hendrix that said, when the power of love overcomes the love of power, then the world will truly be free, right? This idea of we're only going to be wielding what we're worthy of. So tomorrow I'm bringing out, I was debating tonight whether or not I wanted to read you guys a Phoenix, like a Jean Grey Phoenix Resurrection comic book that's coming later, or to read this. But I cap one out just because we had Independence Day not too long ago, and we're still in like what I like to call like, you know, the birthdays of like the Western world. Like Canada Day was not too long ago. So what is America, right? Like, what is a country? Like, is it the politicians? Is it the government? Is it you? Is it me? Is it the land? Is it all of that? It can be all of these things. And when we're talking about symbolic meaning of things, when I'm saying about your inner masculine, I think sometimes people get really caught up in what that means. And so I bring this up because when we play video games, such as Mass Effect, if you guys have ever played Mass Effect Commander Shepard, you can play that game as either a male character or a female character, right? And me, as a female, I play Mass Effect as Commander Shepard as a male. I don't know why, it's just, to me, that story is played as a male. And even though I'm like a woman piloting that character, Commander Shepard is still a male. So that's what I mean about me playing as Miss Captain America. I'm not trying to be female Captain America. To me, my Captain America is Steve Rogers, and just that concept of, yes, he's honorable, and yes, he can be a stick in the mud, and yes, he's pretty much like a 90-year-old man in a younger body, but there's something beautiful about like old-fashioned values, about tradition, about all that kind of stuff, and have that in balance to everything else, right? Yeah. So without further ado, let's get into the read for this evening, and then I'll catch all of you guys tomorrow. I wanted to I'll do more battles. Like, it's just that this whole like face makeup thing took longer than I expected. I should have bided my time a little bit better. And of course I couldn't go dance with this on because the whole thing would probably sweat off. So tonight, you guys, we're going to be reading Captain America with the Defenders beside him. So this is an old school comic book. Back in the day, this would have cost you 60 cents. Amazing. A whole world for 60 cents. And this, I want to read you guys because I have an affinity for magic, and you wouldn't think that Captain America deals with magic. We talk about, you'll see the premise of this.
Disconnected pairing.
Okay, thank you. My Bluetooth is disconnected. So, and we also have here featuring a review of a Smash movie. We're going to get into that in just a sec. Okay, City, thank you for that. Like this. All right, let's go. I have not seen Ironheart. I can't keep up with all of the newest movie stuff. I'm too busy rereading old comic books. I did watch Justice League Dark, though, you guys, the other day. So I'm going to do tomorrow Supergirl. Wait, hold on. My schedule's all... Time's so messed up for me since writing, you guys. So coming up, Supergirl is going to talk about Kryptonian myth, as well as like interfacing some of the latest animated movies I've been watching. And then I've got Jean Grey and Phoenix coming up as well. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I know, God, Rich. I can't keep up with all the latest MCU stuff. I gotta go back to the old stuff because look, I'm still doing Marvel. It's just really old Marvel. Okay. Stan Lee presents Captain America, Peace on Earth and Goodwill to Men. So we've got the shadows and silence are broken by the squealing of a door, the rude intrusion of light, but the four sleeping figures do not stir. They dream on, unaware that their own lives and perhaps the fate of the world itself hangs in the balance. Way to jump right in there. And I also love this paper. It's so old. I don't know. You can always tell the dating of like these things. Love it. Okay. Two muscled guards enter carefully, ignoring all but one of the captives. With a gentleness that belies their archaic, militaristic garb, they lift the man up, carrying him from the darkness into the harsh light of reality. Isn't it? A look of distant interest on his face. The overseer of this operation watches as the man is injected with a certain chemical antidote. There's always like different chemical concoctions in these worlds that like push things along, right? That slowly, painfully drags him back up into consciousness. Wow. You, August Masters. I don't know who that is. I'm glad you remember me, Richmond. I'd have been so disheartened if you'd forgotten. Steely fingers reach out, transferring millionaire industrialist Kyle Richmond into a waiting wheelchair. You'll be a trifle disoriented for the next 10 minutes or so, Richmond. So, if you're pondering some typically heroic course of action, don't. Not that there's anything for us to worry about, since your unique condition leaves you paralyzed during the daylight hours, and the time is precisely 11:07 a.m. Richmond attempts an answer, but his tongue spasms like a dying snake in his mouth. And so the man also known as the Winged Defender, Nighthawk, can only try to focus his fragmented thoughts and remember his recent visit to an exquisite sanitarium where an old girlfriend was convalescing. Oh, yes. So it's referring to a previous comic book about the Defenders. So Nighthawk, in this case, the Winged Defender, Nighthawk, has psychic powers. I'm not as familiar with the Defenders. I'm going to put a little bookmark in that for future time. Okay. It was there that he uncovered a secret government experiment in controlled telepathy. This is also another reason why there's probably not a lot of psychic powers about because the government's probably doing nefarious things, you know, that kind of thing. Stopping that experiment nearly cost him his life. He thought he'd seen the last of the project's head, CID agent August Masters, until 4 of his master's subordinates burst into his Manhattan penthouse, blanketing the room with a thick, cloying gas. Oh, I can hear you outside. I love it. And the long night descended. Ooh. And I hope you guys are well. If you've just joined, I'm Miss Captain America, right? And we are reading Captain America and the Defenders, an old school comic book. So we're throwing it back into our little time portal and checking out this story. We're getting to the fun part. It's got to like lay out the whole bad guy thing first, you know, get you all into it. Okay, where are we? He thought he'd seen the last of the project's head, CID agent August Masters, until 4 of Masters' subordinates burst into his Manhattan penthouse, blanketing the room with a thick, cloying gas. And the long night descended. Well, why are we here, Masters? New CID plot to dissect superheroes? CID? Oh, didn't I tell you? There's no such agency as the CID. Of course, Kyle Richmond gasps. And we move ahead some weeks as the patrons of this Park Slope Brooklyn movie house stroll out into the cool night. So you can see here, Steve Rogers is out on a date. So we cut away from like the bad guys doing bad guy things to Steve on a date, walking out of the movie theater. I don't know who this chickie is. Among the satisfied throng that has just cheered through Raiders of the Lost Ark. So they just went and watched Indiana Jones, which is fun. Raiders of the Lost Ark is freelance artist. Freelance artist? Is that what Steve Rogers is in regular life? A freelance artist? Okay. A freelance artist, Steve Rogers, and his lady, Bernie Rosenthal. Honestly, Bernie, I enjoyed the film, but I don't know if I approve of it. This is Steve Rogers talking about Indiana Jones, by the way. What was there not to approve of? You told me you're a big fan of those old 1930s movie serials, and this was just like them. And look, we got some of the old school ads from back then. Remember? Oh, I remember these. Magic in a gum is bubble yum. Amazing. And so we're back. So Steve Rogers apparently doesn't approve of Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Let's see why. No, it wasn't. So she's saying it was like the 1930 movies, serial movies. And he's like, no, it wasn't. Despite the fact that he did do some good along the way, this Indiana Jones character was, he was essentially amoral. Oh, hey, Keaton. How's it going? And hi, Timmy. Welcome to the read. I'm Miss Captain America, wishing you a happy Freedom Weekend. I am also reading you guys Captain America, The Defenders. And before you guys joined, I was just explaining how, like, if I were a boy, I would be Steve Rogers or Captain America. I really vibe with that whole element of, doing the right thing, even though it's hard, and that kind of situation. Like having honor and standing up for the little guy, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so let's continue onward. Where are we? Oh, yes. So Steve Rogers, a.k.a. Captain America, him and his lady love Bernie. Well, one of his lady loves, he's dating her. They come out of the movie theater and he's like, well, this Indiana Jones guy, he's kind of amoral. He did some good along the way. he's kind of right though. There's a bunch of stuff that like Indiana's he's okay. So there we go. Indiana Jones as an archetype, heroic archetype, is more like anti-hero, like rogue, renegade. You're playing DNA. I just feel like that's a Freudian slip of some sort. You know, like DNA, D&D, your character type, and then your DNA sheet. I'll work that out later. Let's keep going. So he was essentially amoral. My goodness. Oh, and thank you for the gift there. Oh, Kurt, appreciate it. And welcome to the live, guys. I read comic books in cosplay as a way to keep, bring stories to life. And, why not dream up something fantastical and beautiful? It's much more fun than what they have us believing these days. So let's just say. Okay. I don't know. The heroes of my day stood for something. When I'd plunk down my 10 cents and climb into the balcony at the 10 cents? You're not that much older than me, Steve. 50 cents, I remember. But 10 cents? No way. 10 cents to go watch a movie? Are you kidding? How much is it to watch a movie these days? Oh, thanks, Kurt. My truck decided to break down today. Oh, no. You know what, you guys? I don't know about how you guys have felt lately. I don't really keep up with Mercury retrograde, but a lot of tech stuff is messed up for us. Like, we use this, Ninja 4-in-1 grill to, make all our food and stuff. Like, I come from a bodybuilding background, so you can't take the food prep out of this, and sort of you gotta get your proteins, so anyways, that thing conked out on us out of fucking nowhere. And it's one of those things where certain things in the tech, the point of weakness, the whole thing is gone just because the sensor can't tell when it's warmed up enough. So there's a lot of tech out there, I think, that just it's conked out, and I think it's just because I hope, Keaton, that you're able to fix your truck. I love vehicles. I love, I'm from the prairies, so, I was telling my hubby, I can't wait till we're, in a house again, and I have a garage, and, I can, have a true cosplay workshop as well, because, although I painted on this mask, my whole goal is, I want to actually make, functional, cool cosplay armor stuff. Let's do this stuff for real, right? And also, we motorcycle and stuff, so it'd be cool to have armor that's both functional and cool. Yeah. So anyways, let's continue on. So more fun cosplay to come, but that's just all to explain that this cosplay is specifically how should I put this? I was reading it's kind of an X-rated comic book actually, by Tracy Scopes, where she did Peter Parker and his female version, and them getting down. So this is kind of like that. If Steve Rogers had a female version of himself, it was maybe a little bit less, old-fashioned, right? Or maybe not. Who knows? The truck is a 1994 Ford. Oh, I love that. That's cool. I have a dream of having a big truck. So there's a few cars that I want them putting out into the universe. And so the universe is all about abundance as well, right? So before I continue on, a note about manifestation, because we actually end this story. This story, even though it deals with Captain America, does deal quite a bit with psychic abilities, and I like the intersection of psychic abilities and magic. And so if we're talking about manifestation, right, this idea of abracadabra, I create as I speak, this concept of what you put out there is, there's a way of it coming back to you, and the magic of possibilities. A cobra must, oh, so cool. So I want I love old muscle cars. I went to grad in a Camaro, 68 Camaro. Oh my gosh. And I have a dream of, I love the Challenger. like Challenger. I want like a white Challenger with like a black top package on it and like red leather seats. I don't know, just like that kind of thing. But I love like old muscle cars. Like my girlfriend had like a yellow Mustang back in the day, and it was like literally the best, just cruising around with my friends and that, like burning CDs and singing along with the top down in the car on a hot day. There's literally nothing better to me. Okay, let's continue on. Okay, I don't know. The heroes of my day stood for something. So he's basically saying, like, back in the day, heroes were like, you know, just like old people, like how I'm sounding these days. Like back in my day, music sounded different and things are better. Like talk about the 90s, Keaton. Like back in my day, in the 90s, music was better. Movies were better. And like I'm biased, right? And I'm fine with that. So like I feel you, Steve Rogers. That's not the point, Bernie. I'm concerned about the children who will be seeing this film and thinking that that man is some sort of a hero. Sigh, you are so old-fashioned. I think that's why I love you. Oh no, those 3 words just spilled out of her mouth, right? 1998, baby. Oh, old soul there, though, Keaton. You're still born in the 90s, though. And I will tell you this, this is just my opinion. So I was born in 1985. Hey, Master Sith, how's it going? So I was born in 1985. I wrote my book that I'm releasing on the 30th initially in 1999. I graduated from grade 8 in 1999. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I feel like between 1999 and 2001, there's like this weird time blip. I don't know, like my memories, I try to look back at like old diary entries, and it's like this strange, like almost like there was like a summer of 1999 and like we end up in like the fall of 2001. It's just very strange to me. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but anyone who like lived, like I was 14, but then it feels like I just went from 14 to 16. Like, anyways, I know what you guys think about that. 85 baby. Are you an 85 baby too? Yay! Hey. I just got full body chills. Crazy. But I just want to know if you guys feel that same time blip. Also, there is probably a strong relationship between electromagnetic radiation and our perspective or perception of time. And, you know, we've got a lot more radiation around us just because of all the tech we're using these days. So I'm just be interesting, like how like even us right now, right? It's 12:30 here, like just after midnight here. But like my sister's in Vancouver and she's 3 hours behind. So when we game, I was like, what time is it anyways? Right? I'm a time blip. Yeah, I am a time blip. Okay, let's continue on. I just went on a tangent. I actually was meaning to get through this comic book instead of like going off on time blips. Speaking of time blips, okay. So Chicky, I don't know if you guys have ever done this before, but you know, you accidentally say you love someone too soon, right? Because remember, don't sleep with someone on the first date. No one's gonna buy the cow if they're getting the milk for free. Even though with my hubby, I did sleep with him on the first date. So rules are meant to be broken. You gotta just do what you got. But if this case, I've had that happen before where someone said they loved me and I got very, very uncomfortable with it. I was young and I didn't handle it very well. So let's see how Steve Rogers handles it. Hi, Elijah. Thank you. And thanks for the tiny Master Sith. Let's see here. Time is imaginary. Lunchtime doubly so. Oh, yeah. Like noon and midnight. I love those times of days because it's like, what a mind F, right? Like, it's like when you have like borders, like imaginary borders, you're like, oh, I'm here and now I'm here. Like what? Like that's not even a thing. That's all in your head, really. We give it power and then we get confused about what's real, right? Okay. So those last three words slip out without conscious effort. Dun, dun, dun. And Bernie herself, like she didn't even mean to say that, is startled by them. But not as much as Steve Rogers, so he's clearly very uncomfortable about it. Well, where would you like to eat? Do you want to drive down to Sheep's Head Bay for some fish? Steve, didn't you hear what I just said? I said, I love you. Now, if I accidentally said it, I would have just like, oops, and like moved on, especially if I saw that he was like uncomfortable about it. I don't know what you guys think. But she's like pressing this up. She's like, I just said, I love you. You better say something about it, right? And so Steve now, he's like, okay, you're putting me on the spot. And I care about you very much. Hi, Tojo. How's it going? Hope your weekend's going well. I'm Miss Captain America, hosting tonight's show. And we're reading some old school Captain America and the Defenders, right? Some throwback to old school values, to being a little, cheers to being a little old-fashioned, right? I mean, it's also kind of funny because when I play video games, I have such a potty mouth, like swearing and all that kind of stuff. And so people are just like, oh my gosh, the swear jar for you, Rachel. I'm like, that's how I get it out, like, better that than, you keep everything in and then it comes out, with people that you care about. Like, I save all of my swearing and yelling for like the flood and like saving the universe, that kind of situation, right? What is that saying? Better to be better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. I hope I just said that right. Okay. I think we'd better get home, Stevie. I just lost my appetite. So she's clearly telling you here, I just told you I loved you, and you might as well just have said thank you. And then Steve's like, oh shit. He's like, but Bernie, home, please. And so the VW Bug drives off towards Brooklyn Heights, Brownstone, where both Steve and Bernie live. They live together already? Who is this broad? I don't even know. Leaving not just a trail of exhaust fumes hanging in the air behind it, but some unanswered questions as well. Later, after uncomfortable good nights have been said, so Steve comes home to his place. So actually, they don't live together. They're in the same apartment building, but they're like neighbors. Like in New York, how like Friends are, how all those shows where like they all live in the same apartment building, and then you're dating someone who's like living in the same building as you. So that explains it. So in his head thought bubble, he's thinking, blast. Who thinks that? Blast! What's wrong with me? That's the second time in as many days that Bernie and I have had a fight. Some flowers and a few kind words cleared it up the last time. Oh, but this? Still, what else could I say to Bernie? I've never really even thought about loving her. I think that someday I potentially could, but I just don't feel it yet. The only women I've ever had any deep relationships were Peggy and Sharon. Two extraordinary women in two extraordinary circumstances. There's so much I don't know about normal men and women. And then all of a sudden, a headache hits him out of nowhere. The pain is swift, sudden, tearing through his brain like a hot scalpel. He lies there for a moment, whimpering, twitching. Then, as quickly as it has come, the agony simply ends. So what was that all about? Headache out of nowhere. Steve, what happened? That scream. Are you all right, buddy? Josh, Bernie, I'm fine. Fine? You're as white as a sheet. And you're trembling. Come on, Steve. Let's sit you down on the couch. I said I'm fine. Josh, really. I just fell asleep at the board. I had a nightmare. And it must have been a doozy, too. Well, I still think you'd better sit down. Look, I appreciate the concern here, but it's really unnecessary. I've got a lot of work to catch up on, and I can't do it with you two hovering around me like a couple of mother hens. But Steve, One stern look drives Bernie and Josh Cooper back to their respective apartments, and drives Steve Rogers to action. Oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever seen a situation where, like, Steve Rogers is like, I'm gonna pull off my shirt. Okay, go. This is a job for Captain America, and he's on it. Nightmare, my eye. That was a call for help, and I think I know who sent it. Outer clothing is quickly peeled away, revealing the legend beneath the man. Revealing Captain America. Dun, 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 dun. Yay! Love it. Within seconds, he is up through the skylight and out into the chill night. He moves with the simple grace of an Olympic athlete, muscles rippling beneath chain mail, a fiery determination blazing in his eyes. Look at his cool bike here, eh? Let's get that bike, right? The Captain America bike. And presently, outside a seemingly abandoned warehouse owned by Stark International. Incredible as it may seem, that mental explosion I just experienced was really an attempt at telepathic contact. It was uncontrolled, desperate, but I could feel the mind, the personality of the person behind it. Ursula Richards, one of Morgan McNeil Hardy's so-called American dreamers. So something to keep in mind here. Interesting that Cap is able to actually know that that headache wasn't just a headache, but rather a psychic cry for help. So all of you guys out there who are very empathetic people, right? So just because you're not, let's say, a magic user strictly, doesn't mean that you're not necessarily sensitive or receptive to signals such as that, right? So one wouldn't think of Cap as being magical or psychic, but he was able to feel the personality of who was sending him that message. And that psychic person clearly targeted him, right? To be able to know, like, to know to call him, right? So, oh, Mr. Wink, thanks for liking it. I love the part of it. And also, I'm not familiar with who is this? Morgan McNeil Hardy, the American Dreamers. There's a lot of science fiction tropes that deal with, like, you know, the American government taking kids or gifted kids who are, like, you know, skilled psychics or remote viewers, and, like, you know, MK Ultra, all the nefarious-ish. So this is, like, I think, deals with that kind of stuff. And also to all you guys who feel calls for help, or, you know, you get headaches, or these other messages that are not as easy to decipher. Like, it's not like the mainstream media or the mainstream intel is going to be able to tell you, like, well, that headache is going to come from someone psychically calling you for help, right? So he's able to tell that's Ursula Richards, one of Morgan McNeil Hardy's so-called American dreamers. And remembering that the living legend, I love that, living legend remembers it all. Starting with the billionaire inventor who, through use of his astounding psi inducer, attempted to actually restructure reality to fit his own concepts of morality. That sounds like bad guys in this reality too. Hardy hadn't counted on the subconscious minds of his hand-picked telepaths to interfere with his machine's program. So it's like these machines, for them to actually work, it's like they require actual psychics for them to work. Just like in Minority Report, right? Where like you have those 3 psychics who are like basically telling them the premonitions. It's powered by like organic tech, essentially. So Hardy hadn't counted on the subconscious minds of his hand-picked telepaths to interfere with his machine's program, each one twisting the stuff of reality to fit his or her version of the American dream. Also, R.I.P. Hunter S. Thompson. He's awesome. Love you, baby. We were watching some like Fear and Loathing stuff because like that song, like One Toke Over the Land, Sweet Jesus. So speaking of driving songs, and like burning CDs and stuff, that song is in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and we were playing it and like singing along, and like my hubby does this like funny impression of Benicio when he's in the car, and someone else was in it, was like, I don't understand what you're talking about. So we had to show him the movie to like give him context. And like that's similar to comic books or any kind of story, right? Like there's like, of course, like the first meaning of it, right? And then there's a double meaning and like inside jokes and all this other stuff that can be encoded within it as well, right? Like I can think of many times where I went to go see movies with my friends and you end up with like inside jokes because you all saw that same movie, but like any other friend who didn't see that movie, even if they watch that movie later, it's just like they're not going to get it, right? So I welcome you guys to like, just because we're not kids anymore doesn't mean we can't encode things in stories in the same way, just like what I'm doing with you guys right now. Hey Flurry, how's it going? Welcome. We're reading some old school Captain America as Miss Captain America. My inner masculine playing with my inner feminine. Okay. When Hardy attempted to right the situation by hooking into the psi augmentator himself, the resultant chaos almost phased the United States out of existence. Oh, thanks, Alex. Alba. My sleeping time. Yes, it's like good dreams for you guys. Also, I do know, this is just my own psychic abilities talking, you guys. And I do believe we're all psychic. It's just about finding your medium. It's like being an artist, right? You could be a sculptor or a painter or a writer or a singer, but about like knowing like what is yours, right? And what perhaps you find resonance with to like learn more, master. So yeah, I'm just going to continue on. Same thing goes with psychic abilities, that's all I'm saying. So he had this whole plan to like make reality bend to his existence or his will. Shocker, bad guys always seem to want to do that. So he's using psychics in order to do that. So each of the psychics, of course, each had their own way of looking at what the American dream was. And so this influenced the way the machine worked. So, but rather than see the country he loved destroyed, Hardy drew the unharnessed energies back into himself, and he burned out, leaving Cap and the 2 surviving telepaths, Ursula Richards and Philip Le Guin, as the only living beings with memory of what had occurred. Oh yes, me too, buddy. Flurry, yes. So my book is coming out. I have the calendar all marked up for, like, if you can see here, July. My puppy calendar, right? All marked up. So I'm all ready to go. I'm self-publishing. You can get it either in paperback or in Kindle, but I recommend paperback. So the Where was I going with this? I'm just gonna finish reading because this mask took way longer than I had anticipated. So I meant to be on way earlier to do this. Oh yes, definitely flair, definitely. And then I'm hopefully gonna do some in-person book readings and acting outs. Oh, thanks, Tojo. It's me drawing. Actually, I'll share some drawings with you after I power through some more of this. Okay. Where are we? So Cap's on the case. We had evil guy basically using telepaths to power his weird machines, which is kind of similar to my book. I'm going to be doing a Canada tour. That's what I'm hoping to do. So hopefully we can, because if I think about it, live theater is going to be a big part of how I express a lot of these stories as well. So book 1 doesn't have a play involved in it, but it does have an RPG game associated with it. Book 2, however, is a science fiction cyberpunk musical world. And so I've been trying to source like synthwave artists, or if you're an artist, or if you like to sing, I'm trying to put together a new musical. So I've been trying to look at, so that'll be on Indiegogo, and I'm launching that also at the same time that I'm releasing the book. So all of that I've been working on, which is why I've also haven't really been live as often as I would like, because as I was saying to Penguin earlier, why I didn't battle is that I also use these as an opportunity to like live record the readings so that I can go back and like edit them and you can get them later. Yeah. And also it's I have to thank you guys for helping me improve my like reading out loud skills, because like yeah, I look at it this way. It's like with dance class, I've also come back to like teaching dance and like choreographing my own stuff. But when you learn a dance, or when you learn anything or any kind of skill, right, or like a recipe you're doing for the first time, you know, the first time it like feels a little janky, but it doing it again, like I've already read this story to you guys, like reading it to you guys again, it feels new again, even though I know what's happening or what's gonna come. So let's keep going for a couple more panels. Okay, where are we? Yes. I brought Ursula and Philip to S.H.I.E.L.D.'s ESP division. So S.H.I.E.L.D. has an ESP division. After that, had a complete check run on them. So it's the Supreme Headquarters International Espionage Law Enforcement Division. So apparently prolonged contact with the psi augmentator actually increased their telepathic abilities. Not that either of them really cared. All that they really wanted to do was to get back to their respective homes and start leading normal lives. That's usually the case, I feel like. Again? Great Scott. Yes, Captain America, of course, would say, Great Scott. Great Scott. Ursula's apartment, it's a shambles. It looks like there's been one devil of a fight. Here, and the agony returns. The headaches come back. But this time with a decided difference. Exactly 27 minutes later, aboard the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicopter, or the helicarrier, I saw it as clearly as I'm seeing you, Dugan, the woman and the boy being dragged off, unconscious. It was as if she'd left behind a psychic message to let me know what had happened. But what I really want to know is, how could S.H.I.E.L.D. let this happen? Weren't you keeping tabs on them? Hey, we're not in the habit of spying on private citizens, Winghead, no matter what the papers might say. Now relax, will ya? We'll get to the bottom of this. Sorry, Dugan, this hasn't been the best of nights for me. How are things going on there, Miss Runceder? Ms. Runseater. They're giving Cap such attitude. And I'll have it ready in a minute, Cap, but I'm not promising anything. And shortly, what's this thing supposed to do again, Runseater? The prober will be trying to sort out the conflicting images transmitted into Cap's mind by that psyburst. But the energy was so wild, so powerful, that it's not going to be easy to sort things out. I don't care if it's easy or not, Miss Runseater. Just do it. Perhaps it is the strain of the psychic probe coming so soon after Ursula Richards' contact. Or perhaps it is simply the man beneath the mask worrying about a woman he has left behind tonight. But the edge in Captain America's voice is enough to urge the technician Runseater on that much harder. So actually, he's actually inspiring her to work harder. I'm getting something here, but I don't know if I can hold the image more than a few seconds. The dials are going crazy. We're heading for a overload. And as the mammoth prober heaves and roars like some great dying beast, we roll time and space backwards some weeks to a very familiar looking stretch of Colorado Rockies. Oh, I love this. Look at that. Oh, and it's asking me to validate. So I think I'm going to wrap there. I didn't want to go too late. I wanted to be on earlier. So I will continue this later at some point. But it's not necessarily highest priority. But there is something to here in terms of, like, you know, the weird way that, like, the good guys aren't always all the good guys, as well as this idea of the different abilities almost coming to a head with each other. So tomorrow, the read will be, I'm hoping to do Phoenix. So the Phoenix Force resurrection, also like the whole idea of like symbolism about rebirth, creation, destruction, as well as interfacing with the cosmic force. I know it's Marvel again, but then after that we're going to go into some Zatanna and Constantine stuff again, because there's lots of magic afoot, and I'm down to help you guys interpret what it all means, at least from my perspective. So thank you guys for joining me tonight. I hope you enjoyed this version of Miss Captain America. Remember, this is all about this idea of the female version of Cap, not necessarily turning him into a female or anything like that. Just, as I said, like if I were to play him, it would be as that kind of embodiment of an archetype of a leader, someone who always does the right thing even when it's hard, because these characters that we read about, they come to life through us interfacing with them. So whoever your favorites are, Captain America is of course not everyone's favorite. Some people prefer Iron Man, some people prefer other characters, and that's totally fine, right? That's why you have different, like, bunch of different flavors of ice cream or different flavors of wings. Life would be so boring if we liked all the same things, right? But it is also fun when you find others who really do love the same things, because you can really bond on that, and that's what makes things special. All right, guys, so thank you so much for joining me for the live read. That was Miss Captain America. Remember, it takes true courage for you to be exactly you in this cosmic game of life, so please do be exactly you, right? Because no one else is going to do it, and the universe is counting on you, right? But no worries, I have your back. Until next time, superhero friends, stay super and magical. Bye.